Hello guys, welcome to another edition of the Greengo Show. I'm your host Adrian Babishoff, helping you guys live a better life through awesome alternatives. Today's show is I want to bring you guys into the whys, what, wheres, and whos, and all the other stuff that goes with it on the show, what you can expect to get out of the show, and how basically this thing, why the fuck should you even watch the Greengo Show? Alright, well let's jump into it. Oh, before we do, today's show is brought to you by Snoopy Band-Aids, Neosporin, and recreational ethanol. Just kidding. I have to practice. But all right, dude, let's jump right in. I want to tell you guys first the reason, the whys, what's, where of why I'm doing the show and how I've come across information that can help you is because I have introducing Violet Shea Babishoff. She is my special needs daughter who is 10 years old, still in diapers, and it has forced me to have to look at things in a whole different light, live my life in a complete different way, more than anybody can imagine. I have to manage my time, my money. Basically, everything is turned on its head when you have a special needs kid. And the benefit, though, is that it has forced me to save money. It's forced me to make as much money as I can, basically to better myself and handle my life in a whole complete different way, to just streamline things because I'm forced to and have to. And I think those are the things that I'm going to be able to share with you guys, especially you who are in debt, or those of you who want to get ahead or get ahead-er. It's not even a word, I know, but you got, and I joke, okay? Life's fucked up. There's a lot of shit in there. We got to throw some funny. So, hey, that's what you're going to get in the show. If you don't like it, sorry about that. But yeah, those of you who are in debt, those of you who want to get ahead, and even if you are thinking that you're getting ahead, maybe you might want to consider a different perspective on things. So I got it out of the way. There's Violet. Yes, I have a special needs kid. And yes, there's a lot of things that I've had to work on. And while I was working on things to educate myself, I've stumbled across a lot of different things that have changed more than just money and time management and things like that. You know, one of the very first ones that I'll go over is millionaires. So I come across, or billionaires, people with lots of money. Here we all are educating ourselves, and this pertains to me educating my children and being an entrepreneur. I own my own business, doing marketing and things like that, and just growing up in society and seeing what everybody's doing. Well, there's a lot of people going to college and going to school and trying to do good and saying, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to this, I'm going to that. But there's people, and I've compiled this. I'll put the links if I got time in the show notes below so you guys can just binge watch all these things and kind of get a good idea of where I'm coming from. But there's billionaires such as Bill Gates. What is the guy that died from Apple? Dang, I always forget his name. Steve Jobs. We have Mark Zuckerberg from everybody knows who he is. We have Quentin Tarantino. You know, just to name a couple of people. Quentin Tarantino basically dropped out of high school very early. I think it was in like 9th grade. And pursued to do his career. And he's a millionaire. I think it was something ridiculous, like $60 million is worth, or whatever. I forgot what it was. But a lot of these people who are filthy rich and very successful, who looked and said, I don't need to continue learning the way you want me to learn. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. And I'm going to, whether I fuck it up or not, I believe in myself and I'm going to go do it. So very fascinating that people thinking outside the box and making some serious coin. Something that I look at is, you know, it's fucking crazy. Then we got Machiuri Kaku, who is a physicist, very well known, saying that, talking about how screwed up our public education system is and how science is completely murdered out of the mind of children by the time we get to 7th grade. You know, these are some pretty big hitters here. Elon Musk kind of pissed off a couple of my friends. He says your college degree, even high school, means nothing to him. When he says, when I hire, it's more about the achievements that the people have done, the consistency, and basically how they can prove themselves. He would hire you without a college degree. You'd fucking be working on rockets right now that are taking people from fucking, well, they're working on it, to take people from California to Japan in like fucking 20 minutes or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. I didn't really look too deep into it, but you guys get the point. I've been researching and finding all kinds of interesting things. Automation is another one I want to talk about. These are all things that pertain to this show, and the only reason I'm going over it is Well, because first of all, I think they're fascinating, and some of them are completely terrifying. To let you guys know where I'm coming from. And this is not all. There's a whole bunch. I'm just going to try to wrap them all up in here. But automation, if you don't know what automation is, it's basically, if you've heard of the Industrial Revolution, people make up machineries. Nowadays we're making up programs and continue to make robots and things like that that are taking over people's jobs and refashioning the way we function and live as a society. I mean, look at what the internet. But if you guys don't think that this is a threat to you, let me tell you some quick stories. Me working in construction would see like the gas meter and water meter guys driving around. You know, they lift up the little piece of concrete, measure your water, measure your gas, report it, put it into a computer, and go home. And these guys were like city jobs, government jobs, getting paid buco bucks and having a really easy time. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could sit in a truck and drive around and just lift up. You know, how hard could it be? You know, those jobs are leaving. They're gone, if not all of them by now. I don't watch the news, people. I don't know what's going on, but I will finish the story here. Once I started learning, actually a family member of mine was telling me that was his job, that they were going and actually putting in these computer programs with these receivers, I guess, inside the water meter, so that one person in an office somewhere can push a button on a computer and wham, add everything up. Now the city doesn't need to pay an employee and pay them sick days, wonder if they're going to show up. They don't have to pay insurance for a vehicle. They don't have to buy vehicles and do maintenance. It saves them a boatload of money. So when you think that you're safe from automation, you better damn well think about it really good. There's the LASIK eye surgery I heard. I didn't look too much into it, but I heard that they actually put this thing on, like big giant glasses on human beings, and the laser will go in and do the surgery, so they no longer need a surgeon to do this. The benefit is that it's cheaper. It's more, I guess there's more precision in the computer system doing it. Then, you know, someone, oops, slipped, fuck, cut someone's fucking eyeball out. But even being a doctor, I want to tell you guys another one. My acquaintance of mine was saying they were automating, and this was for nurses and stuff like that. So I guess automation came in, and they would have a nurse that would go in and read the signs, you know, the vital signs and things of patients. Well, now they're automating that automation, and I was like, who thinks that's genius? I'm going to automate automation. So any job that you have, you better damn well think, am I replaceable by machines, by computer programming? Because if you think for 1 minute that companies, corporations, and things aren't out there looking for a way that they don't need you, they can actually automate it. I mean, think about it. Computers don't have sick days. They don't bitch and complain. They're there every day. In fact, they could work 24 hours a day. If you still don't believe me, let's just do one more before we beat it up. Look how many things a cell phone has replaced. Off the top of my head, video cameras, wristwatches, clocks, alarm clocks. So imagine you're in a business making, you look at clocks like, my job's never going to go anywhere. We've had clocks for our entire lives, for hundreds of years. Why would somebody have a clock in their house or an alarm clock laying on their bed, when they can just look at their phone, which they're on all the time? Think about it. Think about how many things that the cell phone has replaced. I hear it's starting to replace computers. I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk was saying that he had to actually use a computer the other day. I was listening to one of his podcasts, and he says it was really weird. He's running a multi-million-dollar company off his fucking cell phone. Things are changing, guys. So some things for the good, some things for the bad. But these are things that I find fascinating and terrifying at the same time. Now, I ran into some people like Mr. Money Mustache, who has a lot. He's doing the same things I'm doing, but beyond. And I'm sure I've just started getting into him. I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot. I'm not affiliated with any of these people I mentioned, so if you guys want to go take a look, I advise that you do. But there's another fellow by the name of Jacob Fisker, and basically Money Mustache and Jacob Fisker both retired, one in their 30s, one when they were 34. And these people were just talking about how they're living life different. I look around me and I see these people working their asses off for retirement and getting investments and stressed out and running around, and then what the fuck, now I see these two cats out here, Jacob Fisker, I think you can't even, nobody can get a hold of him. He's just laying back, doing his thing, living a simple life, and retired. Fucking retired at 30. I don't know about you guys, but that shit definitely fascinates me. So I've got to do these things because of my special needs daughter. I may have her for the rest of my life. I don't even know if I'm able to retire. So when I see stories like this, things like, these billionaires, automation, and then Mr. Money Mustache and Jacob Fisker, it leads me to go, fuck, that is something I can utilize in my life. If I'm not able to retire, at least I can make my life a little easier. And then I look at people like you who don't have some of these things going on. Maybe you're in debt and things like that. You can completely change your life. It's just things that nobody talks about, things that are out there. I guess they're so positive that nobody wants to talk about them. They're not on the fucking front page news, So if you haven't, check out Mr. Money Mustache. Check out Jacob Fisker, who is the author of Early Retirement Extreme. I have his book. Maybe if you guys want, you guys need to message me and show me what you want. I've been thinking about reading a couple little pages of these books like Early Retirement Extreme and just kind of sharing the information with you. Maybe it'll propel you to buy the book. Or you can we'll kind of skim. I don't want to read the whole book to you. I just want to give you guys the basis of things that could help you live a better life. Awesome alternatives like this. Okay, so here's one of the things where I'm coming from, and I'm not going to try not to come off arrogant about this, but our systems are fucking failing. I look out there and there is, like we said about the public education system, let's just talk about that for a minute. If that was completely fantastic and everybody was learning and the processes were in place that are just going to help everybody live their lives, why the fuck is there so many people doing bad out there? And when you see other people like this, going back to Mr. Money Mustache, doing things completely different, making money, Elon Musk, people doing things that are successful, that are completely different from the norm. And that's basically what I'm getting, is a lot of people doing things different from the norm, thinking outside of the box, and actually considering that there's a possibility that we don't have to do what we're told, and that what we're being told is a bunch of fucking bullshit. And for lack of better words, without also sounding like a conspiracy theorist, I look at it this way. If you live your life and you think everything is fine, and we're not living in this weird kind of matrixy idea, the way things are, they're not kind of wonky and fucked up, then I think you're in the wrong place. But if you look around you and you're like, my God, there is so much that doesn't make sense, let's try to figure out ways to fix that shit. Because I, for one, am fucking tired of looking at it. It's the smell. No, seriously, it's like, we don't want to doom and gloom. We know what the problems are. Let's find the solutions. And that's what this show is about. Finding solutions, or alternatives at least. They may not work for everybody. None of them, I think, are the absolute truth. That's the one thing that pisses me off too, is people talking in absolutes. I will try my damnedest not to do that. All it is information. It's just my opinion of what I found, of trying to better my life and make my life a little easier. But yes, systems, you guys, if I look at systems around me and everything seems fucking backwards, talking about retirement, I've asked a couple of well-to-do people about retirement, and they're like, no, I have to keep working, It's not what you think it is. You don't just stop when you're in your mid-60s and then fucking play golf, live out of a golf cart for the rest of your life and travel the world, unless you did really fucking good. But the thing that sucks to me is I look at a lot of those people who are finally retired and it's done, and they're unfit to do certain things. Like if you want to sit in your RV and go camping and watch movies and all, that's fine. But if you're someone like me who wants to hike the mountain, or be involved with like my grandchildren finally, and be able to at least toss a baseball back and forth without throwing my back out, and not on a shit ton of medications, I actually feel fucking sorry for a lot of these people. They're fucking beat up, they're miserable, they're pissed off, they're sick, they're very unhealthy, but yet they have tons of money to do stuff with. Tim Ferriss, I think, was one of the things that stuck with me with him was that in his book he said that he believes that people should take multi-retirements, and that's basically what I've done. I'm about to take one right now because I need to take care of my kids, and the mother wants to get a job, and we've got to figure something out. So I'm able to actually take off almost whenever the fuck I want. And I mean, when I'm going to take a retirement, it's like a semi-retirement. But going back on what, and I'll talk a lot about that, guys. I just need to know what you guys want to hear. So message me. But what early retirement extreme, or I'm sorry, Tim Ferriss was saying is taking multiple retirements in your life. So, I heard a story where these people from the UK or England, France, someplace, like this couple, instead of taking 2 weeks of vacation off, they took like 6 months. I think they landed in Chile, worked their way through Mexico, backpacked for 6 months, set it all up, somehow were able to go back home to the UK or France, wherever it was, and then get back to their job. So in their youth, they were able to experience things like backpacking and hiking and fishing. And, I love physical activity, and I want to maintain that for the rest of my life. So there's different ways, different systems. We don't have to fucking eat the shit sandwich that we're being sold. You can make our own sandwiches. So spurring off from what systems are failing, let's look at some awesome shit. I'm going to talk a lot about a guy by the name of Mark Shepard, and he basically is pissing off the permaculture community. This is basically natural farming. Permaculture, I'll explain it maybe after this one here with Mark Shepard, but he was basically looking and saying, wow, no wonder why a lot of you permaculturists aren't making any money. You work so hard. So the story on this guy, which to me changes the world. If you have a lot of doubt and shadowy black shit in your mind and your heart going, man, everything's fucked, I want to share stories with you guys like Mark Shepard's doing to enlighten your day and know, if anything, it enlightens your day. So basically, let me see if I can get this out without fucking it up. Mark Shepard's design, which is proven now, it's like 35 years. I believe he's in the Organic Valley Co-op, organic food. You'll see it, the milks and stuff being sold in grocery stores. But basically what he did is he went and here's his principle. Why are we trying to kill what wants to live and trying to keep alive what wants to die? So he basically, where he's at in Wisconsin, he basically planted things like chestnut trees, what was the other one? Apples, and we'll just keep it at that. Basically planted a whole bunch of trees on like 500 some acres, and he let what wanted to die just die off. He didn't do anything. He calls it stun method. Sheer, total, utter neglect. So in the 30-something years, 40 years, I think, of his doing this, he has these superior plants where he doesn't spray anything. He doesn't do nothing. He doesn't fertilize. He doesn't put pesticides. He doesn't do anything. He's farming with nature. Nature does everything. And basically, there are college professors. There's scientists, I believe, and a lot of farmers that are circling around him, as he says right now, and they're watching what he's doing. It means, do you know what this means? Is that we can actually feed the world with nature, without compromising it, plowing up the soil and doing things like that, which is what permaculture is doing right now as well. But Mark Shepard's story, keeping on that, he's actually making a ton of money because you think about it, all the inputs that need to come in, fertilizer, water, I think the only thing that he's having to do is the labor to actually pick the fruit. So he's basically just he's harvesting, that's it. And a couple little interesting things before I leave this one alone. There's powdery mildew that lays on the ground. And this is a cool concept that he's come up with, stacking functions. I did a whole podcast on stacking functions, and here's a good example. So when the rain comes, it hits the ground, there's powdery mildew on the floor, on the ground. The spores splash up and are able to attach themselves to the leaves, and then it starts to multiply. What Mark Shepard figured out is that I'm going to get my buddy with all his cows and have them come in and eat all the grasses and stuff in between the rows of my trees, and also let them eat what they can reach on the trees. So you see where he was going with this? The cows ate all the underlaying brush, the tree's limbs, so that when the rain comes and splashes the spores up, the spores completely miss, have nothing to grab onto, and the tree is pruned, and it stacked multiple functions. It fed the cows, And that's just one example he's got. I also want to read his book to you guys. And if that's something you guys want to hear, you guys got to message me. Look in the comments below. Look in the, what do you call that? Yeah, the comments below, and I'll put all my links for my information for you to reach me. So awesome stuff. I mean, I can honestly tell you guys through permaculture and natural farming techniques, like things that Mark Shepard are doing, are revolutionizing the fucking planet. There is a way that we can actually turn this shit around. We can save the fucking world. Save the fucking world, you guys. Think about that for a second. And he's not the only one doing things. There's tons of people, and I want to share with that. And if there's people who are doing things like permaculture in the city, you're able to utilize nature and plant things in your home to change things around. So much positive fucking shit out there. And those are things, even if you guys are producing a little bit of your own food and just for the pure delightfulness of it, like if that's something you guys are interested in, or I just love to share it because I hope it gives you guys some hope that things aren't as fucked up as they are. There are things happening that has never happened in history ever at this magnitude. And people, this is a great fucking time, you guys, a great fucking time. Yes, there's lots of bullshit out there, but we can't just focus on the negative. We got to stay positive and look at things like that. And I want to bring it all to you guys. So welcome to the show, man. I'm so glad to have you guys. I'm going to keep on trucking. So now I want to talk about things which I've been led because of my daughter is nutrition and well-being, health. And I did a podcast on parasites. If you want to go check it out, parasite infestation in human beings. And I really tripped out on this one, not just the information of parasites, but what I basically found through my research was that the holistic side, which I tend to go on, is not right in my opinion on the subject of parasites, and neither is the doctors, the Western medicine side. Both people are not very well educated from the information that I heard. So check out that podcast in there, and I want to tell you guys what this has to do with the immune system. At the end of the day, the end of a few weeks from researching, what I came up to conclusion was that the ultimate defense you have against parasites is your immune system. And it's really trippy. And in fact, everyone's telling you that we got to kill all the parasites and that they're no good for you. And actually, there's a professor by the name of Lee Lickens who is a parasitologist. That's what he fucking does beyond biology and other things. And basically what he's saying is that we've had parasites since the beginning of time, and it's because of the parasites attacking our body, our immune system having to fight back on them throughout our complete evolution. They have actually helped us in that sense to boost our immune system, so we're able to survive bacteria and all kinds of infections, and that's why we are here today and being who we are. Thank you, parasites. So you see the spin on that, and those are the type of things that I love sharing with you guys. Another one is by a fellow by the name of Andrew Saul, who he's basically a nutritionist. He's in the show Food Matters, a documentary on our food system and all that. And I started researching a little bit about him and listening to things he was saying. And he actually went on some old manuscripts, I guess, from the old like 1950s and 40s, things that people were doing, again, outside of the box. And there's a story, which you won't hear anywhere. Check him out. He's a really awesome guy. There's a story he was saying that they gave high dosages of vitamin B12, I think, like something ridiculous, like 1,000 milligrams, or it might have been niacin, but either one. They gave it to this mental institution. They were able to clear out half of the mental institution by vitamin therapy. They upped the dosages and cleared out another, I think it was 25%. So 3/4 of the population in this funny farm, or whatever, what do you want to call it, insane asylum, they were able to actually cure these people and get them functioning. That's fucking amazing, if you ask me. So he has tons of these stories that I look at as like completely thinking differently to help us live better lives. He also said that it's not vitamins that actually help cure the body. I mean, that actually are the agent, the curing agent. It's actually, you got to think of it like a vehicle. You just change the oil, you put some new gas. That's what vitamins, minerals, and things like that are, is that it gave the body the fuel it needs for your immune system to actually heal your body. So I was always in the mentality of like, medicine helps you, herbs are going to help. They have nothing to do with anything. At the end of the day, it comes, in my opinion, no absolutes. At the end of the day, it comes to having that strong immune system. And also, I believe a little further than that is your mentality. If you have a sad mind, you're negative all the time, you're going to have a sad body, and it's just not going to work. So you got to stay positive and educate yourself. There's I don't know if any of you guys have heard of the placebo effect. Doctors or scientists would take people with headaches. They'd give half of them a placebo pill. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like salt water in a pill. It's a fake pill with nothing in it. And then they'd give the other half aspirins, and they were finding that both people were relieved of their headaches. I heard another story, power of the mind. I don't know how true it is, but it is said. There was a pilot who had cancer, and he was like telling the doctors, look, I'll do anything I can. And they were like, he wouldn't leave him alone, I guess. So one doctor just said, well, let's just try this thing. Let's give him a placebo pill. And they basically said, hey, we have this experimental drug, and we can try it for you. We're not guaranteeing anything, but it's experimental, and we can just take it and try it. Tried it, healed of cancer. It was such a miracle. They published their paper. Somehow, it is said, the pilot read that paper and completely got depressed and went, what the fuck, it was fake, and he died of cancer like a month later. So the power of the mind, really trippy. Moving forward, there's Gerson, Dr. Gerson. Her practice is healing people of cancer. They have a 95% success rate as long as people haven't taken chemotherapy yet. Nobody's talking about this. She has to go to Mexico because it's illegal to treat people for cancer here. There's another guy too, I forget his name, I'm gonna have to figure it out. It was retinology, I think, or something. They actually read the iris like a map, and I met a gal who actually did it. She says it was like spot on. He's also having to do his stuff in Tijuana, but people have to go do different shit out of here because they're trying to lock. I don't understand why she's not front page news either, but that's what you're gonna get here, shit like that. Gerson therapy, if you don't know about it, somebody's sick, get them the fuck over there. It's not just cancer she's curing. They're doing all kinds of shit through nutrition and things like that. I got one last one on my list here is retirement. And yeah, one of the things the people who are dying say is that they wish they would have saved more money for retirement. It's not what we think, guys. Everything, all this shit here, the way we're living is completely bass-ackwards. There's a different fucking way to look at it. If not just for the entertainment of it, I want to change your lives. I need to change my life. I need to be there for my children, especially my special needs kid. And I want to be there to share with you guys how I'm doing this shit, and hopefully it helps you guys. And let's think about it this way. Are you here? Are you here because you want to be? Or are you here because you have to be? I think there's a huge difference. Think about what you're doing. If you hate your fucking job, you hate where you live, you hate everything's not working for you, there is alternatives. There's always something. You just have to fucking believe in yourself enough. And I think that we can learn a lot from all the people and the things that I've shared with you here. We can learn from these people. And I hope that you learn from me. I'm pulling the best of everything I see and putting it all together in this thing that I'm not calling truth, but I'm calling an alternative way for you guys. So I hope you're not here and you're not doing things because you have to be. You're doing them because you want to be. And if you're not, let's work on that. I'm going to show you guys some techniques. I'm in love with my life, and I believe in myself, and I believe in you guys too. We can change this shit around. There's awesome shit happening all around us right now, and very few are fucking talking about it. But that's what you're going to hear on the Greengo Show. And we are here to change shit around for the better, you guys. So it's been a pleasure having you. I just wanted to explain to you guys just a little bit about this show, who I am, and what you can expect from it, and give you guys a little background so you can understand why and the where. Take a look at the show notes. I'm going to put as many links as I can. My time is up, you guys. Have a great day. It's been nice having you.